Hello and welcome back to Misrepresented. Today I'm so excited because we have a very special financial sales director at multiple Fortune 500 companies. Please welcome Erika Porras.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to be a part of something so special. I think Misrepresented is everything that I stand for. I loved watching your previous conversations.
Oh, yay!
So I can't wait to be a part of the movement and a part of the conversation. I love everything that you're doing.
I love it. I feel like you're everything that we're all about. So we're like the perfect match today.
Yes, and we're in the same
Oh,
outfit.
I know. Of course, we have to thank PinkApple Dresses for dressing us today. We're getting ready for the holidays. So I feel like these are great festive holiday dresses.
I love them. I might keep this one for Christmas.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
For the living room. Perfect.
Yes. No, literally. I get like all dressed up for the living room. So you just wrapped up a financial symposium in Puerto Rico teaching women about financial literacy. So tell me about that.
So financial literacy is something that's very near and dear to my heart, especially as a Latina. Minorities in general, we don't have access traditionally to the same level of financial education. So pursuing a career in something that was male dominated and around a topic that was normally hush hush and not allowed at the dinner table was something that was very important for me. So being a woman in finance and learning these financial literacy tools that can really propel your future was something that once I acquired, I knew I had to give back. So going back to Puerto Rico and speaking to women about access to these financial literacy tools or simple tips that they can incorporate into their lives is everything. It's a moving force. And I feel like as time goes on, women are taking more and more control of their financial health and achieving that financial independence.
I love that. And I've done a little bit of research, but it's so hard to find information out there. A little background, my dad was a financial advisor, so you'd think that I would know, and be financially literate, but I'm definitely not. And I feel like might be a little bit ahead of the game, as far as like the population goes. So it's something that's really left out in schools. So tell me how you feel about that and what can we do to learn a little bit more? Like what resources are there?
100%. So you hit it right, the nail right on the head. America's actually severely undereducated when it comes to financial literacy. We fall below the standard line of proficiency. And I do think it stems back to it not being a mandatory topic in K through 12 schools. You don't know what you don't know. So if you're not taught it, how can you advance your financial status or just financial well-being at the end of the day? So I do think that's something that is very important. I've actually advocated with our state treasurer back in Connecticut to incorporate financial literacy as a mandatory topic. I took it in high school as an elective, which was beyond great.
And you're lucky that they even offered that as an elective.
Exactly. Now, they didn't teach things like taxes and LLCs versus S corps, but
my gosh,
they did at least teach you how to write a check, how to balance your checkbook, log in to a checking account, understanding different types of debt, how to manage a credit card. That's something that I feel like in college, many people get into credit card debt and start off their financial future.
Like I was happy to hear that they had that class offered as an elective, but now I'm like, wait, that's all they taught, because I knew how to balance a checkbook earlier on.
Exactly.
So like when do people learn about taxes, if ever?
On their
own?
Are
we just set up for failure? Is that what the IRS wants us to do?
I definitely feel like there is that indiscrepancy of financial knowledge, especially as you move up the wealth chain. But there is simple tools like how to create a budget. More than 60% of America doesn't even know how to create a budget. Yet, however, there was a recent study that was done that showcased over 90% of people want that financial help. And 45% of those people expect that help from their employers. So for those that do have like a traditional 9-to-5 setting, if your job offers a 401k plan, log into it, set up, contribute at least the minimum, whether that's 3%, 4%, 5%, and just set it and forget it. There's traditionally always matching that goes on. And with those tools, there are things that can prepare a budget for you. There are additional tools like debt management, depending on what provider you're with. So there's a lot of resources out there. I just think it's more so awareness around what's available. And as a minority, I understood like growing up that maybe not to trust financial advisors. So while I definitely did have access to those financial advisors, I didn't always trust what they were saying because it didn't come from someone that looked like me. So I think the more and more we can get women financial advisors, women in finance, people can feel as if, okay, I see myself in her. I can trust
100%.
that kind of advice. And women that have their money together, well, then so can I one day.
I love that because, again, in society, we're like kind of conditioned to have men handle the finances. And I'm so happy to see that changing. And now we're taking control of our finances. But
exactly,
back in the day, that's not how it was, you know? So
exactly. And honestly, to this day, you don't really see it as often, but I still get put in situations where I walk into the meeting where I'm the director, I'm controlling the conversation, and the person on the other side says, oh, we'll wait for the director to walk in.
Wow. So that goes into my next question. Not only as a minority and a woman, what is that like in corporate land? Like, what's the day like for you? Are there any instances where you see inequality, where people are getting promoted before you, or people, like you just told me, they listen to men and not women?
They do. There's still definitely that challenge, but I think every day is a day that we walk towards improving it. And as a woman, learning how to have those moments be teachable moments. So I walked into the room and I asked the guy, I am the director. Is there a reason why you thought I wasn't?
Wow.
And sometimes
what
just
was his
asking
response?
that, oh no, my apologies. Let's get started. So understanding
I'm still not over that. Oh, wow.
Understanding how to have those conversations, ask those awkward questions in which times that you're feeling like you're being misjudged or misrepresented, of just asking, why do you think that?
Wow.
And it makes people aware of those unconscious biases. Wow. I don't think that guy meant any harm or foul. He just is traditionally used to seeing a white man walk into the room when it comes to financial conversations.
Wow. And I'm sure you have to work 10 times harder for half the credit. That's like my favorite quote.
It is. But it's inspiring, you know, waking up every day and understanding that I'm making an impact, whether it's in the real world or in the walls of corporate America. In both ways, just me being me pursuing a career path in that male-dominated industry.
You're making that change right now. So in the future, they're going to be used to it. And we're like, okay, yeah, that is the director. Like, she's here.
I feel like we're walking so that our generation can run. And that's constant. That's the goal, right?
And I live for that. I enjoy every minute of it and just proving everybody wrong. So we're always like talking about like men this and men that, and we're putting them down. But I know there's men that are super supportive
very much
of us as well. Is there anybody that's been really supportive of you that's like helped you in your path?
For sure, both personally and career-wise, I think it's important to find those mentors. I know currently from a professional space, I did have a VP of finance in one of my other companies that I did work for, who did serve as an advocate for me. And he said, listen, Erika, I know that when I speak, people listen and I understand your values. So if there's anything that I can advocate for you, let me know.
Wow.
And that's huge.
It's huge. So, I love that he did that, but I'm like, I'm sad that he has to do that.
Exactly.
But I love it.
And sometimes too, I think that he was willing to do that because I asked for it. Like sometimes you don't get what you don't ask for. So understanding how to have those intentional conversations when you sit down with a VP or someone who's doing better than you or someone who's in a role that you aspire to be, ask. Will you be my mentor? Like, how can I improve? This is what I'm looking to do. And I feel like sometimes it's awkward to have those kind of conversations or you want to feel like that mentorship happens organically. And sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And you just have to go out there and put yourself out there and be your own advocate. Own your career.
I love that.
Is what ultimately
So it is. Speaking of putting yourself out there, you do a lot of pageants. Tell me about your pageant background.
Yes. So I absolutely love pageantry. I credit it for much of my success, my ability to publicly speak and be confident in any space.
I mean, you're winning right now. If this was an interview, I'd be like 10s across the board.
Thank you. But from a pageant history standpoint, I grew up in pageantry since the age of 7. I started with an organization called National American American Miss,
Wow.
or short for NAM.
Okay.
I ended up being Miss Connecticut multiple times for their age divisions, and then ultimately going on to win their national title.
Wow. And NAM
which was
gets like
huge.
hundreds of girls. It's not like your Miss Universe where there's only 80. There's like 100 in your division.
Yes. I think when I competed, I was number 126, and I'm at P. So there was plenty of alphabet left.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, for the state, obviously for nationals, it's one for every state.
They do go into regionals though, so there's more. Do. But that is crazy. 126.
It is.
Wow.
But that was a great experience. I felt like NAM really allowed me to turn from this shy girl who was maybe a little bit scared to talk to the one that just can't stop yapping away.
Love it.
But I walk into every job interview confidently. I actually publicly speak for a job as well. Mm-hmm. So while I do have my corporate 9-to-5 in which I'm talking about financial literacy to C-suite executives, I also have since done my own financial literacy seminars where not only do I motivationally speak, but I also educate. And that's something that's passion work that I genuinely love doing. But at the end of the day, you're getting up in front of an audience of people, and having the skill to publicly speak is a game changer, because many people sweat, they get anxiety, they get nervous.
That's me 100%.
So, it's a great skill to have, the power of using your voice, and being able to do that to ignite change is everything. Whether you're a pageant queen, whether you're a professional in your career or an entrepreneur, your voice is very powerful and it speaks volumes, and you should feel confident enough to use it.
Was there ever a time where you had like stage fright and you were scared of public speaking?
Oh, 100%.
What's your advice? How did you overcome it? Because I feel like I'm still there. I can do this all day on video, but when it comes to talking in front of people, even like teaching makeup classes, I'm like, I get it together, but I still get nervous.
I think honestly, it's something that comes over time.
Okay.
I will say I did have my big moment where I froze, everything went blank. I completely forgot my lines.
Oh no.
It was at a pageant actually.
Was it on stage question?
It was an on stage question, and I completely froze. I had rehearsed this perfect answer, and also pro tip, don't do that.
Right.
But I rehearsed this perfect answer. I was asked the question and I went blank. And immediately I thought, okay, Erika, they don't know what you were going to say. You're awkwardly pausing right now. Speak from the heart.
Wow.
And go.
Did you?
I did. And sure, there was an awkward 3-second pause. And then I sat there and said, thank you. Here's my answer. And
wow, I just answered. Got goosebumps.
And I think there's power in the pause.
Yeah.
So the pause creates awkward silence, but it's always better than an or a and those filler words. Wow. So sometimes you take some silence, reset, and go.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so give us like some quick financial literacy information for our viewers. I'm trying to think like what are good topics.
Okay. Understanding how much you're spending. Step one.
Okay.
Step one, know how much you spend. Go through your credit cards, use an account aggregator tool, whether that's an app that you like to use, or sometimes your bank has one if you use the mobile app. That's when you link accounts. I have my Bank of America checking account that I've always had since college. And I say in there, you can link all the accounts that you have.
Oh, wow.
And see where your money is being spent. Or you can use other apps like a Mint budgeting app, or if you have any account that is obviously safe and secure, link out everything. Or if you have an Excel spreadsheet, you don't trust cybersecurity, completely understand that. But at least for 2 months, track all of your expenditures, understand where your money's going. That's step one. Then from there, hopefully you're still in the green, you're not in debt. And then you can begin to reallocate your expenses and set a budget of some sort. Understand how much you're wanting to save, understand if paying down debt is your goal, but you have to set one and focus on one.
So not both.
Not both.
You can't save and pay down debt.
Well, you can do both, but for some people, like if they don't even know where their money's going, it's best to understand, okay, where are you at right now?
Yeah.
What are the priorities that you need to focus on? If you have high credit card debt that's earning 30% interest, then maybe saving isn't the focus right now. Right now it's tackling that debt. But person has different finances, so it's something that is very unique.
Yep.
But understanding where you're at is number one.
Okay, so on TikTok, I see all of these, like, people talking about what to do with your wealth. And a lot of people are saying, I literally saw this walking into the building today. He was like, okay, this is how you can avoid taxes. Okay, that was on my For You page. And it was like, if you buy a $700,000 jet, but you take out $600,000 in debt, then you only make $100,000. You don't have to pay taxes on your income. And then you rent out the jet and make money, blah, blah, blah. So he's encouraging people to take on debt. Yes. How do you feel about using debt as an asset to make money?
Debt is a tool.
Yeah.
Debt is a tool. So there is avenues for you to make money with debt. If you ever heard the money, you have to spend money to make money. That's ultimately what he's saying. Okay. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, you want to open up a spa, for example. Right. You ultimately have to get in debt in order to open up the spa unless you have that money in cash. But even if you had that money cash, I would not recommend you using all your money all in once. The reason why people take on debt is because one, not a lot of people have all that excess capital, but two, it's a safe way to ultimately make money. Right. So leading back to the spa example, you buy your spa. You obviously hopefully have a business plan and money's coming in, enough money to pay back your monthly debt for your spa, but also enough to pay yourself, your employees, upkeep and maintenance. And then at the end of the day, over time, 30 years go by, you now own the spa. And you still have that money coming in and generating profits. So had you not bought that spa, how would you operate your business? How would you bring in that money?
Wow.
So that is an example of how debt can ultimately provide wealth. Or if you think of it from the landlord perspective, you buy an apartment complex and you rent it out. Everyone else is paying you rent. And then there's a difference of what you have to pay back on what you owe versus what you keep in your pocket. And how else would you have made that if you didn't get into debt? So I think once you understand how debt can serve as a tool, then you're on the right path of obtaining wealth.
Okay, so let's say there's a listener that wants to open up a business. What industry is a solid business? Like, what do you think is the great one to take on debt and do it where you think that you can pay it back? And also, follow-up question, what happens if you can't pay that debt?
Okay, so
sorry, I know I'm
two-part question here. Okay, so always only take on debt that you can afford. And quite honestly, the bank will make that decision for you. You have to have a certain debt to income ratio, and you can't just take out a debt for $1 million. You have to prove that you have the assets or at least a plan to be able to pay back that debt. And that's where your credit comes into play. The reason why America is so credit heavy is because the better your credit is, the better chances of you getting approved for a higher loan are.
And I feel like we're lucky because we even do that here. Because other countries, they don't loan you money. It's either you have the cash or you don't.
Exactly. So keeping your credit is very important. But back to your second question, what happens if you can't pay that debt off? Your debt ultimately gets repossessed. So if you can't pay your car back, they take your car. And then it also gets hit to your credit. If you buy the spa, going back to the spa example, and you're not paying that spa, your spa will get foreclosed and it will impact your credit in a very negative way. And then ultimately, if you do need to take on more debt, either you won't get approved or you'll have a ridiculously high interest rate that it might not make sense or the business might not be as profitable for you.
Okay, so now my For You page popped up again because I think I'm on like a little bit of finance talk, which is fun. So can you declare bankruptcy and you just get rid of the whole thing?
That's not always how it works.
And like, does that affect your credit?
It does.
Can you like never buy a house after that?
So depending on the type of bankruptcy that you file, ultimately has different intricacies involved in it. But there are certain bankruptcies in which you can file, but it normally does impact your credit. I think our socioeconomic gaps that exist because of the lack of access to education. I don't believe that that's one person is any more greater than the other. I just feel as if they don't have the tools and knowledge available to them. There's the saying of knowledge is power, and I am a firm believer in it. So the more that you're able to instill those financial literacy conversations, have those financial conversations with your family at the dining table, understand what it costs to live, understand different ways in which you can make money, have those entrepreneurial conversations. then the more you can positively impact, because it all goes back to what I said earlier. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not sure where to take the next step, then oftentimes you're going to resort to learning how to do so, whether that's YouTube University, Google University,
TikTok.
or TikTok. But ultimately is if you're not receiving that education in schools, in places that you're at every day, or if you don't have that surrounding network of individuals who are at the level that you aspire to be at, you have to figure out how are you going to get to there. Your environment plays a huge factor in where you're currently at, the education that you receive, what's around you. All that ultimately impacts success.
You know what I think is actually bringing a lot of balance is actually social media.
It is.
Because I'm talking about all this stuff I learned on TikTok, and I think it's funny, but at the same time, I'm learning a lot of things that I never had access to in my life, you know, and never taught in school. But now on TikTok, on my For You page, it's like, here's financial education for you. And they make it really digestible for you.
They do. And I think that's also a part of it, is that when it comes to having those financial conversations, for someone who's in their very early stages, the financial words, the jargon, so to say, is complex.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, interest rates, contributions, distributions. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
S&P 500 stocks. What? So it's having access to that information and bringing it to a very rudimentary level so that everyone can understand. Because the world of finance is complex. It can almost be intimidating. It's not welcoming.
Yeah.
So something like social media does allow for that balance to happen. You just do have to be careful, because there can be those fake financial whizzes that provide bad
and all
advice.
The crypto hypes, you know.
Like between like AMC and GameStop, when all that happened, people are making rash financial decisions without being fully informed. So I will just say fact check everything that you see and
go to one of her symposiums.
Yes. Ensure that you are obtaining quality financial information and something that's in their best interest for you.
Yeah, totally. So whenever like anybody's pushing crypto, I'm like, absolutely not. You know, like I already know that's a red flag, but I think it's just so important to do your own research and consult with your accountant or whoever knows.
It is.
Who do we consult with, Erika?
If you're really confused, you don't know where to go, where to start, go to your local bank, whether that's a credit union, whatever's next to you, and open up some sort of account. Open up a checking account, open up a savings account, open up an IRA if you're at that point in time, and just start the action of saving. Like, don't overcomplicate it and start putting away 1%. 2%, $50 a month. Start getting in the habit of paying yourself first, and then with what's left over, pay your bills. Do that. Because that's what's ultimately going to secure your future.
Wow. Okay, so we went way more in depth than I wanted to, but I love it because I learned so much just from sitting here with you, and I could go for like 6 more hours. So.
Yes, there's so much more to learn, and every day, ultimately, you just want to learn a little bit more. Yeah. If I can leave you with one tip, is always try and learn something new every day. I know I still do, and that's something that keeps me fresh, motivated, jazzed.
I learned 50 new things today, thanks to you. What did you learn today? What's the thing you learned today?
So something I definitely learned today was, oh man, it depends on what you want to. What avenue you want to go, what route you want to go down. But I'll start off with this morning. I learned a new TikTok trick for my beauty and makeup.
That's fun.
I learned that if you put a setting powder on before you do anything in your face, it helps set your foundation. And
have you tried it yet?
I did. I tried it today.
Okay, wait, it looks so good.
We're looking in place.
Oh my gosh.
We're looking in place. So that's my beauty TikTok for you tip of the day.
Because when you said that, my mind went straight to like, oh my God, cakey mess. Right? Powder and then liquid on top. But you look
now,
amazing.
Granted, I didn't.
Skin. Oh my gosh.
I didn't completely cake it on. I only did a little bit, and I'm no beauty mogul like you. But if it's Lisa approved, then we're good.
You look amazing. You're glowing.
Thank you.
So I remember on your road to Miss Connecticut USA, because I was a big Erika fan. you were working out so much, and now
Yes.
you have hashtag strong is beautiful. So
Yes.
tell me about that.
Yes. So I fell in love with lifting weights early on. I am a former basketball and volleyball player.
Wow.
It's something that I genuinely love to do. So growing up in high school, I was definitely taught the power of getting stronger. If you lift more weights, you get stronger. And if you get stronger, I can hit the ball better. I can serve. I can take a charge. So that was exciting. That ignited that competitive fuel in me. Now pivoting that to pageantry, there's obviously the swimsuit competition that you had to get in shape for.
Yes.
And I naturally have a very athletic build. I have my wide shoulders. I naturally just build muscle a lot faster than maybe other people do. And so I was very...
Let her finish. Sorry, the mic might pick up on that.
It's okay.
Okay.
I was very nervous about bringing muscles to stage because when you looked on Miss Universe, which is something that I definitely had as a tradition growing up with my mom, we watched Miss Universe every year. All the girls had a very delicate figure. They were long, they were lean, they didn't really have much muscle definition, or if they did, it was very subtle. Whereas that was not my body. So I almost didn't compete in pageantry because I had everyone in my corner telling me, well, Erika, you don't look like that. Like, sure, you're tall, but you'd have to lose so much weight.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't until I saw, I believe it was Triana Brown one year. I don't remember what year that was. I think that was Chesley's year.
Okay.
And she was from Oklahoma, and she brought a very athletic build to the stage. And that was the first year that I saw muscle like mine on the stage. And I thought, you know what? She got top 3. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I said, I can do this without having to change who I am, me as a person, because I didn't want to be celebrated for something that I wasn't.
Oh my gosh.
And being able to train every day and ultimately be my best self in a very authentic way was something that allowed me to enjoy the journey to Miss Connecticut USA.
Wow.
And granted, when I got to the stage, there were still those that thought that, oh, you're still too muscular, you're still too big, you're not small enough. But I knew that I had peace because I was being me. And there was another little Erika or another little girl out there who saw me in them, and I'd ultimately allowed them to feel that strong is beautiful. Oh my gosh,
that is so powerful. I remember seeing you. You looked incredible. Like,
Thank
that was
you.
like a Miss Universe, and Connecticut is a very competitive state.
Very much so.
Like, there could be 10 Miss Universes on that stage at the same time. So.
We're a small but mighty state for sure.
So first runner-up means a lot.
Thank you. Yes. And I think it's important too to understand that regardless of the outcome, it doesn't define your worth or your success in life. And I think that's true for all women in pageantry, regardless of what system you're competing in, because whether or not you take home the one crown, it's the journey that got you there that's ultimately going to provide you that success in your life.
Exactly. Because now look at you, public speaking.
Exactly.
Like all of these things, they all go hand in hand.
They all go hand in hand. The ability to influence, understanding that you have a voice. You don't need that crown and banner to have a voice. You don't ultimately need to win in order to do the things that you wanted to do as a title holder. And I think that your preparation for that pageant ultimately allows you to see that. Because it was funny, one time I was speaking with my interview coach and he's like, Erika, why do you want to be Miss Connecticut USA? And I gave my answer, and ultimately he was like, you don't have to be Miss Connecticut USA to do everything that you say you're doing, because you're already doing it.
Wow.
And it was in that moment that I realized,
that is so powerful.
I can enjoy this pageant, because whether I win or not, like, sure, the platform ultimately allows you to have that greater voice, but to have that self-reflection and understanding of, I'm doing everything and I have the power to do everything I want to do. It's just what that looks like maybe different in that night.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think we ended on a very strong note, but before I let you go, I want to do some really fun
Okay, let's do it.
This or that questions. My favorite part of the show. Okay, so would you rather be on a pageant stage or a modeling runway?
Ooh, modeling runway.
Yes,
Yes.
fierce. And there's no pressure, right?
Okay, am I giving my explanation here?
You can.
Okay, so I think a pageant runway is a lot more fun because you get to bring more personality, more sazoo, rah-rah to the pageant stage. But something about a modeling runway and being associated like with a brand modeling and creating that vision is more iconic.
And it's a different kind of pressure, you know?
It
like
is.
You're not being judged on it. You do want to deliver, but
exactly.
you're not being judged. Are you a morning or a night person?
Morning. I definitely start off my morning at 6 a.m. I have 2 beautiful little doggies, and I take them out on a morning walk every morning. I say my morning affirmations, drink my cup of water.
This girl's going to be a billionaire, because rich people, they're always like, if you're going to be a billionaire, you have to wake up at like super early in the morning. For me, 6 a.m. is like ridiculously early. So
now I'll tell you one thing. I can't really stay up late. Like, it's not, even if I try, I'll sit here and be like, okay, Lisa, we're going to do this at midnight. And I'm going to be like, oh, I'm sleeping.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're not a night person.
Not a night owl.
Oh my gosh. How do you get through pageant nights?
A lot of Celsius, a lot of energy drinks. Lots of energy drinks. And I think you run on adrenaline too. Because I remember I had a 4 a.m. call time with you at one point.
Oh, but that's nothing. That's only 2 hours earlier than normal.
Only 2 hours. Oof. I don't know how you do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't either. I just, do my pageants a couple times a year, and that's it. Because I would die if I did that every weekend. Zoom or in-person meetings?
I love the flexibility that Zoom has to offer, but I'm an in-person kind of girl.
Me too.
I feel like you get to vibe off each other's energy. Mm-hmm. You can really connect on a different level in person.
For sure. Beach or mountains?
Ooh, beach.
Okay.
Yes, Florida girl.
I need to put like a scoreboard of like beach or mountains, because there's only 2 for mountains. One of them's me. And Angel said mountains. Everybody else said beach.
Yes.
I don't know why I live by the beach, but maybe that's why.
Maybe that you probably love mountains because you get to see the beach every day.
I appreciate the mountains.
There you go.
Would you rather road trip or fly?
Fly.
Okay.
I rather fly. Road tripping, I have to use the bathroom. We have to stop.
The car gets funky.
Car.
Okay. HIIT or strength training?
Ooh, strength training.
Is it HIIT or HIIT?
I say HIIT, okay. But I'm not sure. It's high intensity interval training. That's what it stands for.
Or
I'll go with strength training. There's something about picking up heavier weights than the last time, and understanding of, I'm getting stronger. This is great.
Okay, so HIIT is more for like losing weight, would you say?
I would say it's a different style of training. I think it's more like performance focused. Mm-hmm. Like if you're an athlete and you're doing box jumps, for example, like having that power to jump off a box and spring is going to probably be more impactful to your performance than lifting a bit heavier.
Okay. So when you're getting ready for a pageant, strength training will do the trick for you.
Yeah, strength training will definitely do the trick.
I just want to get the look.
Exactly. And all of it, when it comes to weight loss too, that's going to be more focused on nutrition than any particular style of movement.
Yeah, for sure. So we were getting dressed for the show and we couldn't decide between suits or dresses, right?
Yes.
I might know the answer, but power suit or dress?
I love a good dress. I feel like, especially in my field of finance, everyone wears a power suit, whether that's like your traditional man in his power suit or a woman that's in her pantsuit. I love making a statement. So
I love it.
I make my statement in a dress, or if I do wear a power suit, I love a pop of color. So something bright, bold, and bring in the energy.
Because when you walked into PinkApple, you were like, ooh, that yellow blazer, which was super cute.
Yes,
so that was
I
a statement
loved the yellow blazer.
Yes. Phone call or texting?
Call me. Just call me. Everyone that really has access to me knows me as a true friend.
Wow.
Knows to just call. And I will talk to you for hours.
Oh my gosh. Really? More than, what about voice notes?
I can do voice notes.
But you're still more of a calling.
I would still prefer a phone call.
Wow.
Just call me. I'll pop in my AirPods and I'll do my little errands.
You might be like
talk.
the only one in the world. Because I feel like, I don't know. I'm a texter. I'm a neither, actually.
Yeah, I'm a neither. That's hilarious.
I'm antisocial on the phone.
No, I love it. FaceTime now might be a little bit more difficult depending on what I'm doing, but I'll always pick up a phone call if I can.
That. Yeah. Last question, because we're like, let's talk about aesthetics. So Botox or fillers, if you've had any work done?
Yes. So I'm very transparent. I believe in full transparency. I have had I have had Botox and I genuinely love it. I think the important thing there is to go to someone who is an educated professional,
Yeah.
not just your friend who's recently getting into the space.
Oh, no practicing.
But I have had Botox in my forehead and around my eyes
Wow.
in preparation for Miss Connecticut.
Yeah.
And that was something that I thought was a nice touch. It's definitely not a must have, but it is like a nice to have.
Yeah.
It's preventative, of course.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
the one thing that does kind of suck a little bit, and I wish it wasn't the case, is that it goes away.
I know. I'm like, wait, my forehead's moving. It's time. Thanks for reminding me.
Yes. So I am looking for a new esthetician now that I'm in Florida. So if you have any recommendations, let your girl know.
Let me think.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Oh, where can we follow you and when's your next symposium? Because just in case people want to go.
Yeah, so I will be having my next symposium in January.
Okay.
It's a Women in Finance Leadership Symposium. So if you're looking to get into finance, or if you're wanting to learn more around financial literacy, or just wanting to be in a room where there's badass women killing it in the game, feel free to join my virtual symposium. There'll be more information to come. And to your point, where do you find that information? You can follow me on Instagram. That's Erika X Porras, ErikaXPorras. Now, the X is there because I don't have a middle name.
What? You don't? Oh my gosh.
I do not.
Why?
So my dad is Colombian, and traditionally in Colombian culture, they tend to call you by your middle name.
Okay.
And he really just wanted to challenge status quo there and not give me a middle name.
Wow.
Because he thought, what's the purpose then if they're only going to call you your middle name?
Wow, that's interesting.
So it's just Erika Porras.
I love the X too. That's so cute. I thought it was because like Erika Porras was taken, so instead of like underscore, you did X.
Oh no, it was just fun.
That is amazing. Okay, cool. Well, you guys have to follow her. I think I'm gonna be at the symposium because I need more. You know, this podcast gave me a little bit, but I'm like hungry for more information.
Of course, you're more than welcome to come. Yes. It will be virtual, so anyone can tune in from across the country or the globe for that matter. And if you do follow me, you'll get a little bit of insight into my daily life, some nutrition tips, fitness motivation, and mindset help.
Love that. Thank you so much, Erika.
Thank you for having me.